Hi, it's Dre Griggs with Obsidian Wisdom. Today we'll be discussing the proverb, if you close your eyes to the facts, you will be learning through accidents. Most entrepreneurs and families worry about money, so we created the Wisdometric framework to help you eradicate financial stress, generate a passive income, and build a prosperous retirement strategy. We are fiduciary advisors who combine comprehensive financial advice with retirement planning and generational wealth management. So when you're looking at the proverb, if you close your eyes to the facts, you will learn through accidents, it really harks on the importance of overall wisdom. And what I mean is, knowledge is right knowing what to do, understanding is knowing why you do it, and wisdom is knowing how to do it. For instance, I have heard it said that knowledge is knowing that you need an axe to cut a tree down, wisdom is knowing that you should sharpen the axe. You can take it a step further and say wisdom is knowing the direction that the tree is going to fall. Wisdom is knowing that you may need a rope to manipulate that direction, or the length of the tree so that you know how far it's going to fall. You really start thinking that, okay, knowledge is really just scratching the surface. Yeah, okay, I need an axe to cut a tree down. Cool, let me get an axe and start hacking away. Well, the wisdom is the lessons that you would learn from just hacking at a tree. You ultimately will know, okay, there's a little bit more planning that goes into this. And the many of the regrets I think most of us deal with as we get older is really not understanding the opportunity that we had, where we're so excited, so interested in getting to the next phase of our life, for whatever that looks like, that we often don't realize that we can't always go backwards, that we can't often relive certain experiences. And that is why it's important as an entrepreneur and a family man myself that we have this balance when we're choosing how we're going to allocate our time. Our kids, when they grow up, they're gone. And and when they're gone, we don't really know exactly, everything that we've taught them is going to stick. We don't really know how our relationship is going to transform once they move. We don't even know if they're going to stay in the same country. I mean, we have no idea what's going to happen. So we can't make plans that says, I'm going to, forego this moment with my family and I'm going to get it back later because we don't really know. Where some will say, okay, I'm going to focus on this aspect of my life so that I can provide for my kids in this aspect of their life. But the numbers show that our kids are most interested in the time that they spend with us, and that you can, fracture a relationship by focusing too much on the future and not enough on the present. Which I know you're probably hearing from a financial planner where you're like, wait a minute, Dre, like that's the opposite of what you should be doing. And what I'm saying is everything has a place, everything has an order, and that there's going to be different things that you're going to be able to do with your time forever and always, and that there is a opportunity cost. And sure, financially, the opportunity cost is going to be the compounding interest if your money is invested in something that is going to grow over time. But that doesn't mean that that should be the only consideration that you have. And so if we close our eyes to the facts, and often what I mean is if you close your eyes to the results that have already happened, when you read the data, when you see what is happening with people, well, then you're going to learn through the accidents. So what I mean is through your own personal mistakes. We go back to the example I gave you with the tree. If you cut a tree down and it falls on your house, well, you've learned through that mistake. It's probably fair to say that you will never drop a tree on your house again. Or you could focus on the facts, because I do believe that one of the most beautiful things about the world that we live in is how scientifically structured and balanced everything is. That you can mathematically come to a conclusion, and that conclusion will happen consistently again and again and again. And I find that to be one of the overlooked aspects of the beauty of the design of our world. And so, if you've ever seen a shuttle launch or you've seen a shuttle land, then you see that when those shuttles go off, and before they put people in it, they want to test like all the equipment and stuff. Like if you've been watching like the SpaceX as they sent their first, shuttle into space to dock with the space station, retrieve and give some data and then come back, they were able to calculate that to a fraction of a second, that at this moment, that shuttle will dock with the space station. And they're able to do that because there is science where you can say, okay, based on this wind speed and this gravity and this speed of the shuttle and the location of where we're launching and the location of where we're going, we're able to tell you to the exact second when we expect the space shuttle to get there. And it's an amazing thing when you really think about it. And it's also true when it comes to your finances, that there are certain results that we can all expect. That if you invest money in the stock market, like the results will say that you're going to get a 10% return on average. Now, that doesn't always happen, that you do have the risk of losing your money, but it's just this idea that there is a calculation that consistently happens. That if you really wanted to, you could read the results of what Warren Buffett has accomplished, and you're able to apply these principles in your own investment philosophy, and you should be able to get similar results. It's an amazing thing. The same holds true that if you were to learn from the facts of someone in real estate who buys houses and rents them out, or buys houses and sells them and flips them, that you can see, if you've ever watched HGTV, that they have lots of shows where people are buying homes and flipping homes, and where people have these specialties, and these specialties allow them to understand what the facts are and exactly how to get the results that they want. Having had lawyers and gone to court and different things, the experience that a lawyer has and the ability that they can tell you exactly what's going to happen, whether they know the judge and they know the judge's tendencies, or whether they know the law and they know exactly what is allowable in court, what's not allowable in court, whether you should say this or do that or represent yourself in this way, that there are facts, that there is a consistent manner in which things are done. And while it may look like things are random, that they're not really that random. So if you spend enough time learning some of these rules, some of these laws, some of these consistencies in the design of our universe, that you're able to then get the results that mirror someone else. Because if someone else did it, why couldn't you do it? If someone else accomplished it, why couldn't you? What makes someone else any better or any worse than you? And so I often will tell myself that in the worst situations, if I could just find one person who's able to overcome this situation, then that means I can do it too. Because the laws are consistent. I may have to figure out some of the things that they've done, and no matter what the overall, thoughts or excuses or reasons may be, that I can really get past it if I learn the facts of the situation. And that way I won't have to learn through accidents, because many people will say success leaves clues. And I'm a big proponent of using that. It's a part of the Wisdometric framework, is the idea that we're going to model the successful. There is no reason for us to go through life always trying to reinvent the wheel, because there is enough facts for us to be able to know exactly how to build a spaceship to go to the moon. Now, we may not be interested in doing that, but we know that there's enough facts that we can do that. We know that there's enough information where we can learn coding and build a company similar to many of the companies that you see today. We know through media that you can build a following, and that you can get your message out, and you can help people and educate people. We know this because we've seen it. There isn't really a reason for you, anything that you've seen, for you to be able to learn the facts so that you can create a plan to get exactly where you want to be. If you just get up and go, well, while there may be a time for that, you ultimately are going to be making mistakes along the way. And sometimes we don't get to take it back, as we were talking about earlier, where it's a time in our life and then that time is gone. And so when it comes to financial planning and planning for your retirement or planning for your business, you want to make sure that you have that plan in place, that you know what the facts are, so that you're not learning from mistakes. Where you're like, okay, we have enough money to open our business, and then you open it and you run out of inventory, and you didn't have anything set aside just in case. But could you have looked up some of the data? And I think a great example of that is is Walmart. I've read that Walmart's and McDonald's that they often spend millions of dollars on learning about the demographics and understanding the area that they are going to possibly build their next business in. And as a result, they're able to understand with pretty certainty, obviously not exact certainty, but a high level of certainty of how that store is going to perform. You look at the traffic in a certain area, you look at the income in a certain area, the family structures in a certain area, and you can know whether or not that's going to work because you have enough facts. You've opened enough businesses when you're, Walmart and McDonald's that you know exactly how that's going to work out. And as a result, you've seen where, they talk about how some other companies will just open across the street from them because they understand how much money McDonald's and Walmart puts into determining exactly where they're going to open their business. So they know that if they just open up across the street from them, that they should be doing pretty good themselves, which is fascinating if you really think about it. And so when it comes to you, you want to make sure that you don't close your eyes to the facts, that you look for the results that you're trying to get and you learn to model the successful, that you follow the paths that they have created so that you're able to get the same results too. And don't shortchange yourself. Don't just look at the first level. You got to look much deeper. Remember, wisdom or knowledge is knowing to cut a tree down with an axe. Wisdom is understanding all of the nuances of what's going to happen when that tree falls. How do I manipulate the direction of the tree? How do I make sure it doesn't fall on my house? You want to make sure you're considering all of these things when you're modeling the successful. Don't just say, well, Kobe Bryant took 1,000 shots a day, so I'm gonna take 1,000 shots a day. It's fair to say that he probably did a little bit more than that. He had to do some conditioning with his body to make sure his body could uphold that, and he had to do lots of other things that you would want to be looking and learning and understanding so that you can mirror that completely. And if you want more help understanding your retirement needs, check out my free retirement planning that works video training at obsidianwisdom.com/training. In it, I'll give you the entire wisdom metric framework that I use with my clients to help you achieve your financial goals. And until next time, Wisdomites, remember, wisdom is asking the right questions to allow yourself to get the right answers. Keep asking those questions, and you will keep getting those answers. Continue blessings.